Okay, we'll start out with you. We'll go about half an hour. We're live. Did you hit the button or do I?
I did.
We're live. It says end stream. Okay, so where's the count? No viewers. There it is. I see it. All right. We're not going to start until we got a half a dozen people. Oh dear. Right now there's. Oh, wait, he's got. There it is. He's got my mouse.
Got it.
Oh dear. Six months. It's taken me a while to get. Yeah, I think so. Let me. We still haven't got self set up here yet.
Capture because we're seeing what you're.
Just sit tight a minute.
And Luke, I sound okay?
It looks like, yes, it looks like we got it.
Okay?
It looks like,
Okay.
Yes, it looks like we got it. Okay, so I'm going to drop out again. You guys should be good to go now. So I'm going to drop out. Your chat is right there, Powderfish, right there on this monitor.
Your chat
See it? Right there, Powderfish, right there on this monitor. See it? See it? Why is he so quiet? Is he quiet? Oh, wait, I've got my volume turned down. That's why. Is he quiet? Oh, wait, I've got my volume turned down.
All right. Where are we?
You don't have to chat there. You can just talk to them. Okay, I'm out of here. You don't have to chat there. You can just talk to them. Okay, I'm out of here. You don't
Get back.
talk to them.
Oh dear. All right. Well, we got bugs working on. All right. Well, we got bugs working on. All right. Well, we got bugs trying to bring you. Trying to bring you.
Well, that was exciting.
All right, I'm back again. You gotta leave this window open. All right, I'm back. You can't click out of this one. So just your chat's right there. You can read the messages and talk to the chat. You can see your viewer count there. So just read the messages and talk to the chat. Sorry. You can see your viewer count there. So just sorry.
Oh glory! Well, hello. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. My mic just fell off the stand. My mic just.
It's an exciting development.
Jeez. 62
It's an
things
exciting
going
development.
wrong at once here. Jeez. 62
It's an
things
exciting
going
development.
wrong at once. Oh, God. Everything's falling apart.
It's all part of the conveyor belt of life. It's all part of the conveyor belt of life.
God.
Conveyor belt of life.
God. Oh, boy.
Where's super glue when you need one?
How
Where's super glue
everything.
when you need one?
We may not make it tonight, folks. We may not make We're just glitching out. We're just glitching out. Why is it doing that? I'm, as you can tell, I'm not in control. As you can tell, I'm not in control. All right. What do we got? We got 30 people up watching this.
Perfect.
What do we got? We got 30 people. And it's still jumping all over the place.
Perfect.
I don't know what we're doing. And it's still jumping all over the place.
Perfect.
I don't know what we're doing. And it's still jumping all over.
Well, as long as we have 30 people watching and listening and you're trying to get some things together, what if I just rambled on for a bit and then you could...
Go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is Jeff, LOF Days, Jeff Pasternak, who's in Miami, who I met a couple of years ago, and is just doing a brilliant fish room. So I was chatting with him today, and we were talking about this and that, so decided to invite him up, and I want to show you his fish room. So I'm going to let him. Now we've lost him.
No, I'm still sitting around.
Yeah, I know you're there. But I don't know what's happening. Why don't you just show us your room and we'll let the technician keep us going.
Perfect. I'll go ahead and I'll do that. Well,
Right,
happy, you bet. Happy day, and thank you so much for having me on today. This has truly been an adventure knowing you and learning how to do your method and all the improvements on Wallstat and all the shoulders of giants that we come on before. A couple of years ago, I had some exciting times in trying to figure out where I would go and relax and exhale. And part of that naturally just sort of expanded into this hobby that I've been in for decades, like many of you, and some of you may be newcomers. But this was all about creating an environment that we could look at, that we could feel, that we could be in, where we could just exhale and forget what's going on in the outside world. And since I'm not that pretty to look at, I'm just going to flip the camera around and take a little brief tour of the room that I've built. So this is kind of it. Everybody here sort of refers to this as the Grove. The Grove features 6 aquariums. It has a 50, a pair of 32s that are made from Landon. And then I have a fluval wall of sorts over here, where we have a pair of 32 Flex Max and a 15-gallon that sits around in the center. But fish tanks alone weren't really going to make a room for me. What I really needed was to feel like I was in an old growth forest. And so using a photo from a really nifty photographer from Spain who was in Nepal, we were able to basically blow that photo up, raise it all the way up to the ceilings, so that when it becomes afternoon or evening in here and the tanks go into sundown mode, you really feel like you're just sitting in a forest. And instead of watching whatever it is that my beloved wife would want to watch on TV, I instead get 6 different channels to choose from. So the walls have aluminum vinyl on them, and the floor is epoxy resin. And if I drop the lights just a little bit more, they really begin to pick up the coloring from the shimmering of the water in the tanks. And the picture of that is from Upper Multnomah Falls in Oregon. The thing that I love most in here is the different environments that I've had a chance to make. And my most favorite tank is this father fish style tank that I've had the pleasure of posting around before. I'm doing a little bit of experimentation right now with some balsa wood. I want to see if it'll pick up the tannin stains. I also got a really wonderful deal on some lotus pods and all this detritus that just sort of hangs around and is food for all the microflora and microfauna and all the little critters to eat on. I've really been able to maximize the knowledge that each of you have been kind enough to share. And it's turned into this fascinating thing. I'm trying to get an angle, and I'm not totally certain that it's visible, but inside the roots of all of this duckweed are scarlet batis and red tiger dario that feed on everything. And I don't have to feed this tank anymore, whether it's the Cory cats poking around or this is a gold epistogramma is lurking around in here, McMurstry, however that's pronounced. It's become really a tank of passion and pleasure. It's got about 3.5, 4 inches of substrate, and every time I get too much mulm, I just add some more sand on top, and I don't really have to think about it at all. From time to time, I'll toss in some, baby brine shrimp or little things like that just to keep it exciting. But for the most part, this tank is pretty much touch-free, maintenance-free, and a lot of fun to just kick back and watch. It's got that Blackwater aesthetic to it. The next tank that I have in here is a 50-gallon tank. This is what's interesting about this tank is that it is a river manifold system. So what happens is water gets sucked in through these sponges here, comes down underneath some piping, and then I built a huge rock wall. And at the top of the rock wall, I have a couple of AquaClear pumps that just jet the water back across. And so the fish for a high movement environment like this I chose were the white cloud minnows, both the golden and the regular variety. And then this tank also has some other fast water environment fish like, let's see, can we see the Sissiopterus? Maybe the Sissiopterus will come out to play, but there's a bunch of Sissiopterus that are swimming around in here too. And I have a male and 3 females, or at least 1 male, 2 females, and perhaps a beta male. But the river manifold environment has worked out really well. There's some pandagaras in here. The pandagaras really seem to enjoy being back inside these rocks, as well as loads of shrimp. I think there's a pandagara right there's one of them kind of wedged in, hanging out. And it's just a ton of fun. Little wolf goby sitting there too, but it's a totally different type of maintenance environment than the dirt tank. And while I certainly have sand and gravel mixed in with this, and I've tried to keep it a river tank, I have a little bit of a duckweed issue going on up at the surface there. And of course, some Anubis have come blooming out as well, Anubias there. But it's a really fun environment and unlike any other tank I've ever had the pleasure of building before. On the fluval wall, these were an attempt to try to maybe not do standard types of substrate. And so with this, I decided against what I now think is better knowledge. I went with EcoComplete, which is a local business up the street from us that manufactures it, Carib Sea. It's worked out okay. It's not as fun and easy as the dirt tanks, that's for sure, but it's hard to go against the success of the plants. And it does feature one of my favorite plants, the red tiger lily is just staggering. And I think what I love from the surface is you get that beautiful purple underbelly, where most of the tanks that we have, that we kind of collect in life, they've gone away from the plastic hood. Fluval is this all-in-one kind of contained environment. And my wife really loved the way the bow front curves out. But it's really hard to maintain this tank. I mean, how do you really want to deal with this lid? And this is kind of what sparked our conversation with Father Fish today, was that in every industry, we have all kinds of highly manufactured, highly engineered, very expensive people doing all sorts of fun things. But our group, our Father Fish community, is generally pretty opposed to big aquarium manufacturers, even though we all kind of have to use many of the products that they have. And whether we choose to use them because it's function or because it's just easier, it's a cheat to throw something in, a chemical, it doesn't always mean that it's great. But I came across a couple of interesting challenges with the 3 fluval tanks that, as a guy who has no skills, I just wasn't able to solve. And one of them was how to keep the lids up while I maintained the tanks. They're heavy, they're awkward. And I turned to the micro manufacturing industry. All these people that manufacture 3D parts in their garages. I didn't know anything about this. It was just a random search. I was really frustrated by the duckweed covering the tanks. And so I just kind of started searching different things like feeding rings. And all these people out there manufacture and 3D print different parts and pieces for the Fluvoflex or just for aquariums in general. This is a nifty little ring. It came with suction cups on it, as you can see, and it will slide up and down on this post with the water level. So I'm able to segment off an area of the tank, and I can put in, have duckweed not be in there, and the rings come in different sizes. Another person specializes in custom manufacturing different spray bars or different nozzles for the Fluvoflex. And everything just sort of snaps together. An issue that I was having with holding the lid up, here's a guy that manufactures a special lid holder, and it's got the exact cup size to hold the top of the lid, and then the bottom is also manufactured just as well to curve over the glass. And then my favorite pieces I just received last week. So in these rimless tanks, your choices are kind of limited, right? I mean, what are you really going to do? You can use these plastic things or the metal ones for the light to sit on top of it, or you can rest the light on the side of the glass. But most lights don't come with risers. And let me see if I can turn this way and kind of catch a riser in action. So this enterprising guy down in Puerto Rico manufactured a riser that firmly snaps onto the top rails of the fluval here. I'll show you a separate picture of that in a moment. And it doesn't move. It's firmly on this stand. And what I really liked about it was that in this river tank where I'm getting plants that are just shooting out the top, I want the risers to be higher. I'm going to turn up the light in here in a moment. I wanted the lights to be higher off the tank than in the other ones. And so this really thoughtful guy sat down, and I guess he kind of engineered this riser here. And it's got a snapping lid, and you can see how it's got a slot there, or a tab, I guess. And I can move this up and down to any height that I want, and it gets up to about 6 inches, and then it just snaps right back into place with a nice click. And it's not going anywhere. And so it gives all kinds of extra flexibility for different light products that he makes these things for. And when I was talking with Father Fish about this, I was likened to Legos. And Legos have been around for probably the lives of everybody, including Father Fish. And but if you're into like specialty Legos, maybe you like the Star Wars collection or the Star Trek collection, where were you really going to go to get a flamethrower or a particular arcane character, right? If Lego can't make 400,000 of them, it doesn't want to make them at all. And that's the same thing with risers like this. How many could Fluval actually sell? 10,000, 5,000, who knows, but clearly not enough because they don't make them. Or the little doohickeys here for changing the way that the water comes out of the filters. And micro manufacturing, these guys are a lot like us in our little community here. They decided to buck the trend. They'll make a couple of hundred of something in their garage, listed on Etsy, listed online somewhere. And oh, look at that. That is a Sissiopterus. Yeah, sorry,
Nice.
just took off.
Nice.
But all of us in our own way are bucking this trend of big aquarium manufacturers, and I feel like these guys and gals that are creative enough to manufacture oddball parts that we could use in our tanks is something that's often overlooked or just completely not known about at all. And that's, if there was ever something that we were looking for to fill a niche, it's amazing what a couple of enterprising people will do to help us fill that niche. And with pretty high grade plastic, I mean, that's a pretty thick piece. It feels rugged to the hand. It's engineered. It's got a hinge. And for $20, it's an easy kind of a throwaway thing. I mean, how bad could it work? It's either going to hold the light firmly in place with these two channels or it isn't. And it's just a needed thing, I think.
Neat. That's exciting. I sit here trying to think about what I could use. I find duct tape. There's a multitude of functions. Right? Kind of amazing.
Yeah, duct tape, plywood, 2x4s, but
yeah, but the riser, I've got these 4-foot fixtures here on this 4-foot tank, and actually a riser that would hold them in place would be really nice and would work a lot better than what I'm doing. I did find some shields that I'm very pleased with. Use to cover them, but yeah, just so many of these little fixes with filters and lights, hoses and whatnot. I used to maintain a shop that had about 100 cubbies, and every cubby had a collection of different kinds of materials. So when I had a problem, I would go to my cubbies, start putting bits and pieces together
well,
to fabricate something.
And we had to. I mean, you might remember up in Maryland, there was a shop in Laurel. Actually, was in Greenbelt, Laurel, and Capitol Heights. It was called Beltway Aquariums, Richard Harkness.
Yep. Yep.
And so I managed that chain of aquariums as a kid, and there were constantly breaking pieces where you just couldn't find something, and
when were you there?
I managed those stores from 88 to 90. Yeah, 1988 to 1990.
Okay. I was there a bit before that, the late 70s, about maybe 10 years before. Great shop.
Yeah, and
amazing.
Richard never shied away from bringing in unusual fish. And
that's right.
And educating us on one, how to keep it alive. Two, and much more importantly, was how do you find the right buyer for that fish? Not everybody should have pacu and blue stingrays and, clown knives. I mean, from your time down here in Florida, the clown knife is just an incredible fish, but it really doesn't belong in person, inside of aquariums.
Yeah, I know. I had some that were 3 foot long. but I had them in a 500-gallon tank.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a staggering thing, and oh, there goes a little epistogramma. And or so many things like what was the filter? Oh, I had Magnum filters, the big canisters,
Right.
and eventually I just needed to get them off the freaking floor, And so, what are your choices? A couple of bricks, they vibrate. But now you can go and buy on wherever there's a micro manufacturer that makes those things, or DC power holders, or think about all the times. So in all of your, were you running centralized there through all your tanks?
Yeah, it was.
So Richard wasn't necessarily as savvy in some of those years, and we would just set up large whisper pumps, but we didn't have space on the racks for them. And so somebody manufactured an air pump shelf, that could hang off the back of a tank, right?
Right.
But it was those sort of one-off solutions where there may not be enough demand or ease of access to a market for it, but in a micro market, a community like ours, or at least through the power of the web with all the manufacturing places like Etsy and, or heaven forbid you go up onto Alibaba, you can get these really neat, well-manufactured parts that you just might not necessarily find elsewhere in the community.
Right.
So it's been really cool to see, and I always think back to Legos. I sent you a picture earlier today of my Grateful Dead Lego set. It's a fabulous little thing for $40, but every time I look at them, I smile a little bit. And the micro manufacturers do a really good job of filling these markets.
Yeah, how do you contact them? How do you find these?
So my first exposure to it was we were actually having a charity event down here in West Palm Beach, was where this one was, and there was a school that was doing 3D printing, and they were selling little trinkets. And I had no clue that 3D printing really kind of existed. And over time, and especially once I started to build out the Grove, I just began to search, 3D printed Fluval Plant 3.0 riser. And all of a sudden, the world opens up.
Wow.
And adding those words 3D printed to almost any search produces something. Even these kinds of other parts, like, let me flip this around. I mean, we've all seen these U-shaped things before. You can, right? Any fish store will have them. What they don't have are these adjustable nozzle piece. If you wanted to put another kind of spray bar on it, you're not going to find that. But you can get the rest of this tube printed 3D with spray bar, or they have ones that have a little rotating piece on the inside so that you can have variable flow. These have a little impeller inside of them, and it'll never show, but for variable flow, if that's your thing. And again, for $5, for $10, whatever it is, I mean, not to diminish the value of money, but when you're trying to come up with an aesthetic or maintain a look, a floating ring of plastic can go a really long way. And for someone like myself, I'm not handy, Father Fish. I don't have those handy talents. But I love the look that it gives. Like if I drop the lights in here for just a moment, um, the rest of the tank is a bit on the darker side, and then I get this beautiful spot of bright light because I have a ring above it that lets the light get down. I'm trying to grow this here. I don't want to grow. I don't have anywhere else to grow it, but if I can maintain a circle of light.
Oh, how cool! Yeah.
It's a neat way, especially because I just can't get rid of the duckweed to save my life.
I know. There are things that eat it. That becomes the ultimate solution. I'll tell you, there's a way to get rid of it that works. I experimented with it in my shop, and I worked out a system that works absolutely perfectly. The trick is you need to get every single leaf. You cannot leave one leaf behind. Way you do that is with a micro wet vac. Very small wet vac, and you just hold that wand right above the water level, and it'll suck up every one of those leaves. You'll get a little water too, but you can get every single leaf
So,
without disturbing the water. That's the trick. If you're trying to take them out with a net, they get all down in the water, and then they're hanging on plants. They don't come back up, and you never win. But this way works. A micro wet vac. They sell them for about $50 at Lowe's,
I,
and it'll clear every single dot. I've got a problem now. I have a micro duckweed in my baby betta tank, and it's a tiny dot of green,
ah, what a
and
nightmare.
it covers the water. It covers the surface just as effectively as duckweed. So I'm gonna have to do something about that.
In one of my tanks with a Moonlight Gourami in my 125-gallon tank. In fact, maybe I'll take a stroll out there real quick. My Moonlight Gourami really enjoys the sorry for the dark there. The Moonlight Gourami really enjoys the duckweed, and I'm often
Oh, you
tempted
bet.
to
Just
to let it go to town.
sure.
This was the 125-gallon tank that you helped me shift around a bit. This used to have large river stone in it, and I began to complain about it. And so you said, stop complaining and just start throwing in sand. And so I did.
Right.
I've added. You can see here from the base, there's a good 4-inch sand layer in there now. Of course, I put leaves underneath the sand, which has made for some interesting life forms that are instantly enjoyed by the clown loaches. I've never really figured out what to do with these large mounds of detritus, but the fish don't seem to mind them, and some of them really hang out and enjoy. But this tank was always a pleasure before. Anytime you get 125 on a wall, it's just a sight to see. And adding the sand really changed the tank a lot, and it changed my enjoyment of the tank. And I remember, I think it was 3 months ago, you yelled at me for taking this Sirius stone and putting it in an acid bath and gassing all of my neighbors. But I think that the look still works really well. And for folks that have problems with water getting too acidic, this kind of stone works exceptionally well for buffering the pH. But
Yeah, that's right.
but your ideas about sand and deep substrate really changed the way that this tank is. And there's that one Moonlight Gourami that just decimates all the plants. But it's been a heck of a lot of fun doing the deep substrate. And so I'm really excited about the next tank I'm building so that I can do less maintenance, have more peace, more enjoyment, and really just continue to explore some of this fascinating micro life forms. I saw in that great video you posted today, there was a biologist talking about all the critters, and that's just my poor mouth.
Laura.
Yeah, all that. Yeah, Laura, she was so insightful, and there's so many great papers on the Discord too. It's been amazing to just see how much life we can pack into tanks and not have to rely upon chemicals to keep things going.
Jeff, thank you so much. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate having you. I've I tried several times to get over to see your fishery. And then I left Florida. So I don't know. I will be back to Florida. And when I do, I promise to come visit you.
That would be a lot of fun. I certainly have an extra chair here in the Grove, and we can grill something on the grill and dine inside the style.
That's terrific.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a grateful day, and I'll see the rest of you on Discord.
Delightful.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye for now. Thank you, Jeff. All right. Now, I don't know if our technician can be able to get this back together, but I'm gonna make a move here. Well, he's taken over my mouth. Can't do anything. Let's see. Lee Wilcox is, my God. Rid of what I can by hand, then I hope that's gonna. Redoing his tank, I guess. Hello, Lee. Nice to see you. Let's see. Asaya Llewellyn just got back from ILFS. One happy place to another. God bless you. Asia. PBS. Excuse me. Playing with algae. Oh, let's see. A couple of things I wanted to talk about. I decided to extend the plant sale. There was so much interest in it. I talked to my supplier, and I was able to get another nice sized batch of high quality bunch plants. These are very strong plants that have been grown out sub aqua. They've not been grown out outside the water of the water level. So they're very healthy, they're vibrant, they're strong, very thick stem plants with good leaves. I got some mermaids this last time. I usually get 3 varieties. So for 15, I'm selling them 15 bunches. That's about 5 pieces in a bunch. So you're getting 75 plants for $50. Well, that's about 66 cents a piece or so. 15 bunches for $50. You can buy them at father.fish. That's www.father.fish. Now, we have a new website. It's not quite finished. We're still in the works on it, but it's pretty cool. So get over there, father.fish, check out the website, and then go to the store. I will do a package deal of, and you get a double break on, of 15 bunches of plants, which is $50, a $20 order of supplement. That's the deep substrate dirt supplement, and a $10 package of sodium thiosulfate, which is the crystalline form of chlorine remover. That does about 1,000 gallons for $10. That's 50, 20 is 70. You get the sodium free, and the shipping is $15. 50, 20 is 70, $85. For $85, you get the whole kit. 15 plants, the dirt, and the sodium thiosulfate. Or you can, of course, buy just the plants or just the dirt. but they're all available on the web. And as we're speaking, I rather expect that that Luke is setting up the the deal. So if it's not set up, you can order them separately, and I'll just make sure that you only pay the shipping one time. That'll be a $15 fee. So jump on this. I've only got a limited supply. I can sell 10 units of this. And I've already sold 2 today. So that leaves 8. I'm going to be shipping the end of the week. So I need to get 7 more orders in. And they're going to go probably quick. Last Sunday, I got 6 orders just from the Sunday night stream. So if it's something you want, jump on it and get it. You will be thrilled with the plants. I absolutely guarantee. I'm shipping thermal. I'm shipping thermally and with a heat pack, and it's a 2-day delivery in most places. I will be shipping some to Alaska this week, so we'll see how that goes. Going to a post office box. I'm not going to sit in somebody's old mailbox in Nome, Alaska. But that'll take probably 3 days. I don't see any problem at all. The heat packs are 3-day heat, so they will hold up the entire 3 days. I had some that took 4 days to get there. They were still warm, so it's very well insulated. I use a bubble wrap that gets a number of different turns, and it's about 6 different layers. So it's pretty snug. And I'll be getting those out, as I said, the end of the week. So get your order in as quickly as you can to make sure you get that product. Wonderful plants. Perfect for a new tank. Perfect for even a relatively new. Or if you don't have the kind of plants that fill out like a back or a side area, they're perfect for that too. These are plants that grow substantially and that can be used to create a clump, a forest kind of environment. Something that's just real beneficial, and they do brilliantly well in a deep substrate. Oh, what else is happening? Some really exciting stuff. The research group is really digging into it now. Within about 2 months, we're going to have the first phase of this, which will be 9 or 12. I think 12 different leaves, 12 different trees, the leaves of which are going to be delineated in such a way as to give you understanding of what you can mix and match in order to achieve a series of goals with the leaves. Now, we want some leaves that are going to break down very quickly, others that will take longer to break down, some that will release certain kinds of organics, others release other kinds. One of the things we've discovered is that if we collect the leaves while they still have color in them, that color remains an active function, an active item in the water column, and will enhance the color of the plants and of the fish. So we'll be doing more with these natural, they're not called free notes. What are they called? I can't remember. Natural colors in order to be able to enhance the color of the animals and plants aquarium. So that's a number of things about the deep substrate. So there's always been criticism about the deep substrate. I overcame the criticism by doing it and proving that it works. But we're learning now more about why it works. And we're learning that many of the beliefs that even the scientists have had about deep substrate in aquatic environments just not true. One of the critical ones is the belief that one could aerate the substrate in order to keep oxygen down in. Turns out it's not possible to do that. Even if you force water through it, it's not possible to do it. Dirt in water becomes compacted. It becomes so compacted that oxygen does not permeate beyond a few millimeters, like half an inch of that substrate. Below that, it doesn't get down in there, which means that the waste, the detritus, the organics are broken down by a different methodology. They're broken down by bacteria that are able to take an oxygen molecule from an oxygen atom from an iron oxide molecule, take that oxygen away from the iron, use it to break down the organics, and then release that iron atom, iron molecule, to be taken up by the plant, which it cannot take up in the form of iron oxide. So there's a process that occurs in that deep substrate that makes it possible for the system to balance itself explicitly without the presence of oxygen. Now, that's not to say that there's no oxygen there. It is, but it's locked up. It's locked up in forms such as CO2. The deep substrate is a CO2 engine. It cranks all of the oxygen out of these other minerals and other organics that are coming down into it and locks them into carbon and releases them as CO2 to the plant roots and to the atmosphere. We've learned that much. Now we'll be publishing these insights and understandings, the result of this research, by this fall. We're doing a 3-phase book. The first phase is the live food web, which includes, of course, leaves. The second phase is the microorganisms, which include microflora and microfauna, bacteria and fungus and archaea that are living in that layer that is sitting on the surface of the substrate and barely down into the substrate. Into the sand, it goes down about an inch. In fact, there are some of those animals that go all the way down to the bottom of the sand and actually zip into that dirt and feed and come back up to breathe. They're remarkable little animals. That's the second phase. The third phase is the substrate itself. And we'll be saying things about that a lot of people are going to be shocked to hear, because it's going to run counter to everything we think we know about the substrate of an aquarium. that brings me to the final phase of this little lecture. And that is that we have treated the substrate of our aquariums as little more than a receptacle for waste that needs to be periodically cleaned out and a decoration. Let me suggest something to you. That an aquarium, any body of water, large or small, is not a decoration. And it is not a receptacle for waste. Not in the narrowest sense. Rather, it is a living environment. Just like a garden. I keep using the parallel of a garden. Let me suggest something to you. A lot of folks are convinced that to maintain a fish tank, you need to thoroughly clean it 2, 3, 4 times a year. Get down in there, rip everything up, rub it out, go in with a plunger, pull all that dirt out. Now, let me suggest to you that there is not a farmer anywhere in the world who does that to their soil. How many farmers do you know who every couple of months dig up all of their soil, clean it, then put it back down? The very notion is ridiculous and absurd. How much more ridiculous and absurd is it to do the very same thing with the substrate of an aquarium, where the very process of doing it destroys the aquatic environment? An aquarium is a garden. It is an aquatic garden. It's not a garden that you grow vegetables in, at least not on land. But it is nonetheless a garden. Treating it as a garden, recognizing its unique property. And that is what we're trying to get at with these sections of this book we're publishing. The unique properties of an aquatic environment need to be understood. And they're not. There isn't anybody anywhere in the industry that understands the unique properties of an aquatic environment, specifically as it pertains to the substrate. Oh, there are companies putting out all kinds of products, substrate products. Well, they sometimes work for a short period of time, but they are not a permanent solution. What we have developed and what we are sharing and teaching and what we are going to be able to formally, scientifically demonstrate is exactly how this works, why it works, and what you need to do to be able to achieve it. This is nothing more or less than an absolute revolution in this industry. But it is a revolution that is going to end algae clogged tanks. It is going to end overfeeding. It is going to end sick and dying fish as a routine. It is going to end the labor intense labor-intensive activity that caused so many people to give up on it. And it is going to end failure. So, I invite you to join us. Join us on Discord. That's the greatest place you can have a conversation about what we're doing. Participate in it and share in it. You know, I had somebody just today who got very cantankerous, arguing with everybody, and then left in a huff saying, well, this is an echo chamber. I don't participate in echo chamber. Well, call it what you will. We're doing one thing. We're trying to do it well. We're not trying to do everything. We're not trying to teach you how to keep a glass bottom tank, or how to keep a gravel tank, or how to maintain a lot of filtration with mechanical devices. We're not doing any of that, and frankly, there are too many other people who are. We don't need to, and we're not interested. We're not doing this for everybody in the world who wants to do everything other than what we're doing. You want to do something different than what we're doing? Go somewhere else and do it. You're not going to find a home here. I mean, I hate to be that crude about it, but that's the reality. We are here to celebrate nature in our aquarium. And the only effective way you can do that is by allowing nature to naturate in your aquarium. And you do that by creating a genuinely natural environment. Not one that looks natural, but that is in fact a natural environment. So, I've gone off now for near half an hour. Make sure you order your plants. Make sure you hit that subscribe button too. Boy, do we need subscribers. Where are we at? We're at 76 viewers. That ain't half bad. We're definitely ahead of where we were 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 2 months, even a month ago. We're doing some things differently. We're focused on what we're doing. We're trying to do it in a way that is careful and professional, that is appropriate to getting the job done. And in the process, we have set a goal. I want to call it a long-term goal, but it's not so long a term goal. Our goal, by the end of this year, this is January, by December, our goal is to be at 100,000 subscribers in our channel. And we're going to move heaven and earth to make that happen. What does that mean? We're going to reach out in every way we can with the message of the deep substrate and the natural aquarium. Not an aquarium that looks natural only, but an aquarium that is in fact natural, that in fact is growing and thriving in your aquarium, in your home, and will continue to do so for as long as you allow it to be. All right. Where we go? ABS. I'm going to chew you up a little. Talking about algae. Covered the tank, turned off lights, removed the algae as possible, added a couple of air stents. The solution for algae in a tank. Algae is caused by three things. Number one, it's caused by excess nutrients in the water column. How did they get there? They get there through overfeeding and through a substrate that is not doing its job, that is not receiving and holding on to the nutrients as they precipitate out of the water column. Nutrients do that. They precipitate. In order to precipitate, they need a place to precipitate into that isn't also just going to release them. And they need a life cycle that's functioning in that precipitative environment that is able to take those nutrients in and again hold them in that substrate. If you have an environment that does that, you will not get algae because there will not be excess nutrients in the water column. You can clean algae out all you want. You can turn the lights on all you want. But once the lights go back on, that machine is right back at it again. You can kill it for a while, but it's going to come back unless you solve the basic problem, which is what is causing it. The second thing you need is more plants. More plants. Why is that? Because algae is at the back of the line in its ability to take in nutrients from the water column. What's in front of the line? Rooted plants, tubered plants, duckweed for that matter. Any of the other higher order plants do a better job of taking in nutrients than algae. So algae is getting what's left over, what the other plants that are in there can't use. So you put more of these in there and you won't get algae because these other plants will be using all of the nutrients in the water. Where do those nutrients come? They come from the fish, the other animals, shrimp, snails, whatever, the other animals that are living in that water column. From the urine, from the waste. That's where the plants get their nutrients. At least the nutrients to be able to do photosynthesis. Plants also get nutrients from the substrate they're living, from the soil. And those are the nutrients that are precipitating out of the water down into that substrate. If you provide adequate plants and an appropriate substrate, you will not get algae. See this tank? This tank is 20 years old. It has light on it 24/7. I turn half of them out, but the other half stay on. Day and night, 24/7. I defy you to find algae in that tank. It's not there. Why is it not there? Not there because there is an adequate number of plants in here to be able to take up available nutrition, and there's a substrate deep enough and strong enough to be able to take in and hold on to the precipitative precipitative, I don't know how to say that word, nutrients that are precipitating down into it. You want to solve an algae problem? That's how you solve it. Oh, let me jump to the bottom here and then. Native bluefin Kelly, where are they at? All over the South. I caught them in Florida all the time. They range up into Georgia and they go west all the way into Texas. Probably New Mexico, well, maybe not. Probably Southern California. I have plants covering in hair algae. Do I replace them? No. Well, Lee, hair algae is the single exception to all of this. But it's also the easiest algae to get rid of. Now, how do you get rid of it? You take it out. It's long strands. Just pull it out. It comes out by the strand. And you keep doing that until it's gone. It may take a couple of months. If it gets established, you just pull it out. Hair algae is a different kind of algae. It grows in spite of the best efforts of the plants. But it's very easy to get rid of. It just takes persistence and a little bit of time. But if you keep taking it out, it's going to disappear. You will get it all, and it will be gone. Just just pull it out. Pull it out. Pull out every bit of it you can. Go back a week later. If there's more, pull it out. Keep doing it. In a month, 2 months at the most, it'll be gone. Toothbrush. Toothbrush helps. Comb helps. Your hand does a good job. Difference between algae and moss. Difference between, I don't know the botanical difference. Moss is not an algae, obviously. It's a complex plant. Algae is not a complex plant. Algae is a simple, basically one cell. It's a one cell plant that grows by exponentiality. It grows by bifurcation, grows by division. Moss grows like a plant. Moss has roots. They're very fine roots and they're very tiny roots, but they're roots. It's a different kind of plant altogether. Success using a bamboo skewer, rolling it to collect it. Yeah, that works. Anything that'll work. It'll get it all. It absolutely will get it all. How do you get a wrench next to your name in blue? Fatherfish goes on YouTube, brings up a live stream, scrolls down, there we go. Rolls down. Who's asking? Mark Raymond at the bottom. Mikey, Dennis, Lee, Salient. We'll give out some wrenches. Easy Saber. Bottle brush. Yeah, that works. That works real well. Phantom Tetra. Use a fork. Twist it like spaghetti. Amazing. All these brittle bugs. What's your best thoughts on plant nutrition? a deep substrate, allowing the nutrients that are being created by the life in the tank to support the life in the tank. Adding nutrients creates imbalance. Ultimately, you keep adding nutrients, they don't go anywhere. They stay there forever. You don't need to add nutrients. If you've got a rich dirt layer, cap it with sand, plant plants and put fish in, and then add a food web. That's really the nutrition, the food web. What is that? It's the leaves of trees. Tree leaves. Tree leaves are the foundational food for every freshwater body on Earth that has trees growing around it. Those leaves comprise the foundational nutrition for all of the life in that body of water. The most important, the most vital, the most viable, the most effective, the most universally available nutrition, source of nutrition in freshwater bodies is the leaves of trees. There are countless studies that have proven that time after time after it is factually that's the only nutrition that you need. Anything else simply creates, well, it creates algae. It it creates a superfluity of nutrients. Saw black hair algae the other day. Black hair algae. Yeah. Black hair algae clearly is a function of a couple of different things, but primarily of excess nitrates in the water column that are not being taken up by available plants. If you have no plants, you're going to get black hair, particularly if you don't do water change. Some people like it. I'll tell you about it though. It's an interesting plant because it will grow and grow and grow and grow until it overwhelms the water column with its ability to assimilate nitrates. Then you know what happens? Die. It'll die in a day. It'll disappear one day. If that's all you have in your tank, don't fall in love with it forever because it'll be gone. Let's see. Gracie, Mark Raymond. There's Mark. Mark, you are now a moderator. I've been warned not to do this. Mark has become a member. Welcome, Mark. Anybody else? Let's see. Victor Hugo Banchucci. Let me say it. Banguccio. Oh, Victor. Randy Kumchik. There's a list. That was 4 days ago. Oh well. What is that? Can't read. Lost it. All right. What else? Mark, let's see. Got you. You're going to be turning. You'll be getting a wrench whenever YouTube gets around to doing it. It's there. It's in the works. Blazing. Does the 2-inch substrate depth apply to all size tanks, or is it proportionate? Good question. First of all, there is no 2-inch substrate depth. I do not teach a 2-inch substrate depth. For most tanks, I teach a 3-inch substrate depth. 1 inch of dirt, 2 inches of sand. 1 inch of dirt, 2 inches of sand. Now, if the tank is below a 10-gallon tank, even perhaps a 10-gallon tank, although I would do in a 10, I would do 1 inch of dirt and 2 inches. A 5-gallon tank, 1/2 an inch to 3/4 of an inch of dirt, 1.5 inches to just under 2 inches of sand. Never make the sand the same depth as the dirt. Needs to be an absolute minimum of double the depth of the dirt. Reason for that is that dirt has a tendency to rise up into the sand. It will come up halfway. If it's 1 inch of dirt, it'll come up 1.5 inches, maybe a little better to 2. You've got 2 inches of sand, no problem. If you got 1 inch of sand, you're going to start getting bleeding into the water column. That's what you don't want, because that's going to pollute the water. It's going to make it impossible for you to be able to maintain the water clarity, the water purity you want. Lost my. Let's see. Try to get rid of my 95-gallon so I can get smaller tanks at its place. Oh boy. Why is it so hard to find people to? Because the fish that grow in 95-gallon worth of water are bigger than their 10-gallon tank can handle. That's usually. Thank Mark Raymond for purchasing 2 bundles of plants during the stream. Thank you, Mark. I have a little helper on the side here, checking things out. Bravo, Mark. Good job. I will be able to give you a discount on the shipping for that. You will only pay the single shipping fee, which is actually $17 plus the heat package. So you're going to get, you can either get a refund of, if you paid for both, if you have paid for both, I'm not sure how it's set up. If you have paid $30, you'll get either $10 back, or if you would prefer, I can give you $10 more. Upgrade to the kit. I want to upgrade to the kit. And you want 2 bundles. Okay, so it's going to be 2 bundles and pretty sure I can do. I'm pretty sure I can get 2 bundles in the it's a standard size box, a USPS box. That's their mid size. I think I can get it all in. The shipping for that'll be $20. So you'll either get a $10 refund, $10 more plant. Gas going. Giving. Anybody know what the timestamp? Flips the great doctor. Now there you go. Now I need to get a publishing company, and I will in fact. Axelrod, what an amazing man. Amazing man. Became inordinately wealthy by publishing books on back when books were before the web. back when people bought books. People don't buy books anymore. We got to sell something else. But anyway, he collected very rare violins, $100,000, $1 million, multi-million-dollar violins, and he had quite a lot of them. He also had a very large yacht that traveled the world. He also got in serious trouble with the IRS. So he worked a deal to donate his collection of violins, I think, to the New York Met, Metropolitan Opera. Donated the entire collection, and the IRS backed off. They wouldn't do that today, I don't think. But he was able to remain a free man traveling the world at 90. How old was he when he? I got 10 years. We got to hit 100,000 by the end of this year to make that work. It ain't going to work if we don't. So, need your help. Now, tell you how you can help. The most important thing you can do to help get the word out about this, about what we're doing, and about how to do the aquarium, is dare. Daring is caring. Daring is the key. Daring is the key to growing. Why? Because you're getting this video or others like it in front of people who would never, ever in this world encounter it. And some of them, our numbers are 10%. 10% of them will watch it. Of that 10%, 2% will subscribe. 2% out of the 10. So it's 2% of the total people you get it in front of. 10% are going to watch it. Of those, 20%, 40%, 20% are going to sign up. So here are the numbers. They got from 16, we broke 16,000. They got from 16 to 100. 84,000. 2 out of 100. 2 out of 100. 2 into 8,400. That way, 4,200. 4,200 times 100. That's 42,000. 4 zeros. 420,000. If we can get not just this video, but all of them in front of 420,000 new people, doesn't sound. Never mind. We will reach our goal. I think it was 100,000. Yeah, it's 100,000. So add 2 more zeros. That's 42 million. 42 million people need to see these videos in order for us to get to 100,000. Now, here's the thing about it. Those numbers are meaningless. They have nothing to do with actually building a YouTube channel or becoming successful. What does? Viewership. People looking. So, more people we can share it with, the more people who are going to watch it, the more people who will get enthused about it, the more we'll be able to put some of these con artists out of business. We're selling you stuff to kill your fish, so you'll spend more money to kill your fish. Because that's frankly what it's really all about. Is getting rid of the con artists that have moved in and set up shop in our hobby simply as a way to suck blood out of the hobbyists, to empty their wallet at a time when they're already spending way more than they should be. And they're not getting the benefit of it. So we're providing benefit, low cost, so you can put more money into fish. Buy more fish. And you'll be able to buy more fish. You can keep the ones you got alive. More and better. And that'll put the pressure back on the industry where it belongs. Is to provide a greater resource of quality animals, quality fish in the hobby. There are wars to be waged in the process, and this is only one. We fought one last spring, and we beat them back, but they ain't gone by a long shot. The government's going to try to take over the pet industry and control it rigidly. That's going to happen again. It happened before. I guarantee you it will happen again. We must be vigilant. We must protest. We must go to war against that effort when we need to. I'll be leading the charge. I have 16,000 marks. Well, we'll see. I think I've got about 3,000 to 4,000 fighters. Fighters. That's my army. Lee is saying I'm feeding too much. I have new frogs and new bristlenose. You got frogs? You got baby frogs? Oh, come on. You got baby frogs? Oh, do a video of your baby frogs. Lord, that's wonderful. That's astounding. Had these frogs for what, 4 years? And I've really been taking care of them. That's magnificently. You know how hard that is to do. Deeply. Frugal fish keeping. You a wrench. Joining a live chat for the first time. Happy to have you. Oh, glory. Launched my YouTube channel to share what I've learned from 30 years of planted tanks. Post your link, Frugal, and let's see if we can support you. Put your link in here. We're going to jump all over it. merch. The Fish Guys Grinding merch. By the way, we have mugs for that. See it? The front of the old shop. Is that cool or what? No. $20 plus 10 for shipping. So $30. It'll be on the website. I only have a few in stock. So if you want that, $30. Really cool. Father Fish. Trying to get rid of my 95 gallon. Yeah, we did that, didn't we? Yes. This is a problem, I know. Don't turn them loose. Turn them loose. How can you? There are rescues, fish rescue, all over the place. Look for a fish rescue. See if you can find somebody who's willing to rescue your fish. Sometimes shops will do it. Shops don't share this info, Mikey, because they can't make money on it. Because they're locked into a product line that they're frankly losing because online sales beat them to a pulp. So they're trapped. The only hope for the local fish store is the natural aquarium, because that allows them to sell fish and plants, tanks, dirt, supplies, those kinds of things, lights, pumps, the basics, without having to deal with 500 different kinds of chemicals and food and God knows what else, which they cannot be competitive with. It's outrageous. I could buy online cheaper than I could buy from my own wholesaler. Didn't make sense, but it's absolutely true. The guys who are selling online, buying in such large volumes, they can afford to get discounts from the suppliers, from the manufacturers that I can't get as a small operation. So they can sell cheaper than I can buy. They can sell so cheap. I was buying, toward the end, I was buying everything online that was sitting on the shelf in my shop. How stupid is that? But that's what it's come to. We got to turn that around. We got to make when I was a kid, when I was a young man, shops sold fish and they sold plants. That's what they sold. They sold fish, they sold plants. And they became very wealthy people doing it. Because the fish were not dying and the plants were not rotting. Getting back to that. We're going back to the days when fish didn't die and plants grew like trees. We're getting back to it. Fish need to rest. Oh dear. Fish need to rest. I don't know. I have this tank here, that tank there, the one up top. I have all of my tanks. All of my tanks have light on them 24/7. I don't know if I can. Let me try. I'm going to move my. Probably. Bottom tank. Here. That is my baby. They are almost half an inch. can actually tap tank any. I got a real problem with now that I've moved to Maryland. I don't have a good source, and I've been shipping from Florida, but it's been too cold and it's not been working out. Plus, I'm not a preferred customer anymore of the wholesaler, so I get 50% scratches by orders. I order stuff and half of it comes in. I'm doing okay, but it's not getting what I need. So I need to get online and start buying from some of the YouTubers where I can get these. Just get over the notion that I'm going to be able to buy it whole. That's what I need to do. Let's see. Phantom Tetra, I believe in this method and have some questions. I'll get on Discord tomorrow. That's a really, really good idea. Discord is such a great site for learning, for conversation, for fun. There's an awful lot of people there just having fun, for research, for serious conversation. And if you want to talk politics, talk religion, we got a channel for called the Soapbox. Get on there and you can spout off so long as you're not vulgar. It's all NSW. And it is respect each other. Those are pretty rigid rules. No vulgarity, no obscenity, and no personal attacks. Beyond that, man, say what you need to say. Get it out. Now, not everybody goes. You're welcome to. Well, I think I'm out of here. Me out then. Mikey, thinking about leaving Northern California. Laws and taxes here in the house. Oh, Lord, I don't know how people get. New York's another one. Boston, Chicago. I don't know how people do it. $100,000 a year rent. How do you do that? Moving to Austin, Texas. Well, maybe not Austin, but Texas, sure. Texas probably a better bet at this point than Florida. Florida's getting a little crunched up, if a little crowded. Officially is here. Hello. We're up in Parkville now. How's Maryland treating me? I'm beginning to get my legs. I'm really looking forward to this spring. I've located some places I want to go collect. And I'm hoping to get some pretty cool stuff. See how that out. I still don't have freshwater spots down yet. I've got one. But that's gonna come. What I really am looking for at this point is a partner. Somebody I can go out with because I'm kind of feeble. I don't want to be falling down in the middle of the woods and breaking a leg and not being able to. Wanting to set up my 55 and try to introduce some angles. Try to pair a couple up for breeding. Try to raise a few and try to get a pair. The best way to do that, Otis, to buy half a dozen juveniles. grow them out and let them pair off. Then you can separate out the pairs. That guarantees that you're going to be successful. Otherwise, it's a crapshoot. Try to buy a pair, better than even chance they won't. Start with juveniles, grow them out. They'll be comfortable in the tank. They will come into maturity there, and they will pair off. Do. Mikey, before I started watching your channel, I was losing fish left and right. Since I started using your method, all my fish are happy and healthy and hungry. Keep 'em hungry. Keep 'em hungry. Bravo, Mikey. Good job. Yeah, I think it's going to happen, Mikey, but we really got to turn. It's the hobbyists that are going to have to do it. We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to teach people how to keep fish so that they can breed them, so they can be happy with them, so they can do what they dreamed about when they first saw their first fish tank. That dream is still there. In the heart of every fish keeper is the dream to be able to keep these little guys going and healthy and breeding and having babies. My God, I wonder. Can do it. Absolutely can do it. And you don't need a whole lot of technology. In fact, the less technology, the better. Fish are doing it out in the pond right now, and they got no technology helping them. Think about it. ABS is going to go around the shops. Oh, ask them to take, right. Right. Do I ship my mugs? Do I ship my mugs worldwide? Yes, I do, Roa. I do, and I'll be happy to ship you. Shipping is going to run nearly $50. To ship like to Europe is like $48 for a box that mug fits. Insanely expensive. But I'll do it. Moon boots! Moon boots here. Like he's saying, moon boots hold the line. Moon boots! I love moon. There he is. Stay strong and steady. You got it. Bristlenose plecos are all male. I have one pleco. It's a female. Boy, do I want a male bristle. I really do. Where are you? Brentwood. Can I get one from you? Can you ship me a bristlenose male? Want a gold one. Got a gold. Must hold the line. Crowd, where are we at? 84. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you, guys. You are a blessing. We're running into 2 hours. We're going to cut it off at 2 hours. I think this Sunday night's perfect. I like it. You like it. We all like it. We're going to do it. Here on out. Plants. Plants. 15 bunches of plants for $50 plus 15 shipping. Going to give you the $5 break. Shipping. So you get 15 bunches, 3 different species for $50 plus 20. Now, if you want to add plus 15, if you want to add another $20 to that, I will send you a package good for 100 gallons of substrate supplement and package of sodium thiosulfate, a chlorine remover. Get all of that for $85. All of that for $85. Carlton Epps. Hello, Carlton, and nice to have you with us. Carlton is a member, a bona fide dues paying member. Welcome, Carlton. Isabella. Love you, Isabella. Sweet Isabella. Blessings to you as well. And a single in the trenches. You got it. Who else? HK. I hit the like button. Added a moderator. KK. Gollymon. Oh. Hey, cat. Gotta. Gollymon doesn't get a wrench. No wrench for Gollymon. Stray Cat gets a wrench. Corey says I'm 100. Old enough to be called father. Did anybody say? Oh yeah, there it is. Officially. 82. Yeah, 82 is right. And it ain't like I'm healthy, mind you. I'm just not giving into it. Like that. It ain't my master. The diabetes, the heart, murmurs. I've had 6-way bypass. I've had many. 2, what are those things called? Stick a piece of stuff in your. I have a pacemaker. There it is. Pacemaker. I got a knee replacement, hip replacement. I've had COVID, near died. I've been septic, near died. And near about bled to death last summer. I lost enough blood they had to give me 3 pints. Never figured out what that was all. But it ain't got the victory. I got the victory. Because I'm beating it all. They ain't beating me. Nate Pliskin, working hard in the fish room. Getting ready for the 500-gallon native tank build. Wow. That's going to be exciting. I'm looking forward to that. What's the like button look? 92. That ain't bad. Hit the like button. Let's get to 100. Let's see if we get 100 likes. 95. Need 5 more. 5. Counting 5. Give me 5. You need 5. 4. 2. 4. Need 4. Come on, 4. Need 4 more. 4 more likes. 4 more. Let's do 1. 2. Need 2. 2. Need 2. Down to 2. 1. Down to 1. Who's going to be that 1? Who's going to give me 1 like? 1 like. It can be a dislike. 1 like and we'll be at 100. 99. 99. 99. 101. We did it. Bravo. Bravo, team. What a crew. All right. 7:48. We got 10. Does water hardness matter with your method of deep substrate and additive? This is Christopher Gonzalez. gets fringe. For the question, go back and read it now. Does water hardness matter with your method of deep substrate and data test? I also have a pH of 8.0 with a TDS of 400. Which aquatic plants are suitable? Virtually all of them. The ones that are not are the Potagetans, although you can try. I would try. Absolutely would try one. Java moss, Java fern may not do as well. No, Anubias may not. Those tend to be more soft water plants. Buse will probably not do. Everything else will. Most of the plants in the hobby, the more common plants, are they grow in brackish water. They grow in brackish water. Get a hold of that from, like all of the Ludwigia, the swords, the valves, all of that stuff grows in brackish water. So it's going to do just fine with a 400 TDS. It'll love it. Does water hardness matter? I think it's a plus. On balance, I think hard water is better than soft acid water because it's more stable. And if you do the deep substrate, you don't have the problem of pH imbalance, of stress, of ick, of all of the other parasites, the diseases, the bacterial problems. You don't get them because you've got a thoroughly distributed biological environment. In other words, there is so much diversity in this system that it maintains control of all of the crabs in a pot. You get a bunch of crabs in a pot, none of them can get out because the minute one tries, another one grabs it and pulls it back. It's sort of like that. The balance that occurs in a highly diverse environment. Brandon Funk donated $10 through Super Chat. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you so much. If there are any others that I've missed, what is this? Oh my goodness, D, $20. Thank you, D, for the $20 donation. Certainly do appreciate it. That's fantastic. You are amazing. No, you are amazing. We are all amazing here. I have a dead fish in my 50-gallon tank. Can I leave it there? No, bury it. Bury it in your tank. Bury it down in that deep substrate you've got. That's right. You don't take anything out. And if you do, replace it with something else. Brendan Funk. Thank you, Brendan. Oh, look, it popped up there. All sorts of things popped. Brendan and D. Who is D? I'll have the name. Jumps. Monday I'm gonna place order for plants, Mikey. Didn't Mike? I think I went. Greg's Catfish Cave has been feeding tons of chrysalum, chrysaluin, chrysaluin, chrysaluin. What do you mean? What's that little running thing? Victor Hugo? Print at the Spider Hugo Bongachi. Isabella donated $15. Thank you, Isabella. For a deer. You know what? I can get the. Oh no, it's doing it a different way. Thank you guys. You're a delight. What else? Only read hard copies of books. I have a library from all the books Sue and I have read. It's late. Always buy hardback, no Kindle. Even though I'm a retired computer. Yeah, I used to do that. I lost my library twice to flooding. I had about 5,000 books at the height of my collection, including a lot of things that ought not have been lost. They were. So I don't collect books anymore. I have. This is about all I have left, actually. Which is a lot of fish books, some history, a little bit of theology, some old books. I used to live in a library. I had an upper floor apartment in a library on Beacon Hill in Boston. It was the General Theological Library. They had 50,000 books, most of which were pre 1900. So it was an historical library. Big old brownstone, 4-story brown. It was wonderful. Uncle had a ton of books that were going to give away. Looked through the pay, had so much money. They found $20,000 for the books. My word. That would have been a surprise to anybody who got them for free, wouldn't it? Look through the pages of the area. Good thing somebody was. Go to the bottom. Alien Aquatics, $4.99. Thank you, Alien Aquatics. Oh, there's a thespian. Love Shakespeare. That's report. I did that for Sue. I did a special performance when I was in college. We performed Hamlet, and I got a role as Polonius. And it's a role I have cherished my entire life. Love that role. It's never played properly. Nobody ever plays Polonius as Shakespeare wrote Polonius. If you've ever watched Shakespeare, seen this. My liege and lady, to expostulate what magic, what duty is, what day is day, night, and time is time. We're nothing but to waste night and day time. Therefore, since brevity, old and Sims outrage thirst, will be I call it ad. I need to go back and read. My mind is gone. I've remembered that for 60 years, and now it's fading away. All right, we did it. Love you too, Lee. And you too, Sue. Absolutely. Ah, accident. All right. We're at 8 o'clock. God bless you. Wonderful to be here. It's been a joy and a thrill and a delight and buy plants so I can afford to keep this going. I need the money, honey. And share. Please share. Do share. Please share. By all means, share. If you do nothing else this evening, share. Share. Sharing is caring. Share and share alike. Share. Share. And Bono. Bono. Right. Bless you all. Life.